Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hey, have you ever wondered who the most loved Filipino basketball players are of all time? Well, we did, so we're gonna make a video about it. Surprisingly, we don't get to see a lot of Filipino basketball players in the NBA today, although that doesn't mean that Filipino basketball players aren't loved throughout the world. We're gonna be taking a look at 10 of the most loved Filipino players to date, including guys from the Philippine Basketball Association who never got to play in the NBA. We'll start off with number 10, Johnny Abarrientos. Abarrientos never made it into the NBA and played for the PBA instead. However, he was the first Filipino player to get a real crack at making it into the league, which is why other people rallied around him. The Flying A, as he was nicknamed, was a little smaller than you would like in a point guard. He made it up, though, with his ability to always be able to create a shot and pass the ball at a high level. Next up at number 9, it's Benjie Paras. Benjie Paras played in the PBA and was an instant superstar in that league. Paras is the only Filipino player to ever win Rookie of the Year and MVP in the exact same season. He picked up the nickname Tower of Power and dominated at both the collegiate and professional levels. I'm telling you what, any opposing player must have had nightmares before lining up across from this dude. Moving on now to number 8, it's Alvin Patrimonio. Unfortunately, he never took his talents to the NBA, but that didn't stop him from becoming one of the most loved Filipino players. He was nicknamed the Captain and was almost always getting double-teamed. He finished his career with 15,091 points, which is good enough to rank 3rd all-time in the PBA. He also played in 596 consecutive games, and that was a record until 2019 when LA Tenorio finally broke it. Moving on now to number 7, we're talking about Bogs Adornado. You can't look at Philippine basketball and not come across Bogs Adornado. This dude was like Steph Curry to the PBA. He won the MVP award 3 times in his career and had an unreal ability to shoot the ball. It didn't matter where he was on the court, he rarely ever missed and even became a deadly scorer in the post. He was the scoring champion of the league 3 different times and even created a signature pump fake. The reason he ended up becoming so loved was for the same reasons that Curry is loved in the NBA. He completely changed the game. Coming in at number 6, it's Ramon Fernandez. Fernandez could have easily gotten himself into the NBA, but chose to stay in the PBA instead. He was a center that could do all the things that a point guard could do, something that wasn't ever seen before. Although these days we get that a little more often with guys like Nikola Jokic coming to mind first, right? Anyways, Fernandez was a walking triple-double, kind of like Russell Westbrook, and he earned himself the MVP award 4 different times in his career. Ramon also scored 18,996 career points, which is a mark that has never been broken in league history, and honestly, nobody expects it to happen anytime soon either. Let's move on now to number 5, and that's Robert Jaworski. Jaworski also wasn't actually in the NBA, but he was still a very loved player from the Philippines. His stats never really jumped off the page at you, but they didn't have to. He was an excellent defender who played with a lot of heart, and not to mention his leadership ability was just off the charts. People who watched him would often say that a player was pretty much double-teamed if he lined up against them. He was just that good. And it didn't matter what team he was on, the fans instantly accepted him onto their roster and loved him even after he was gone. Those fans may have found out that he was subscribed to our channel. If you want to be loved by fans like Jaworski was, make sure to smash that subscribe button right now. Anyways, back to the video, we're talking number 4, Andray Blatche. Blatche entered the league as a 5-star recruit. He was averaging 27.5 points, 16 rebounds, and 6 blocks per game, which is why he decided to enter into the league as soon as possible. He was projected to go in the first round, but wound up going at pick 49. He unfortunately had a carjacking incident and was forced out of training camp in a few games, which resulted in a small suspension. When he first got back to the team, he played like a solid role player, but never turned out to be the superstar some thought he might be. He had a falling out with the team that drafted him, and later bounced around before heading to play for the Xinjiang Flying Tigers. Coming in now at number 3, it's Raymond Townsend. Townsend played in the NBA decades ago, but the reason he's up to number 3 on our list is because he was the first ever Filipino American to play in the NBA. Townsend opened the door for a lot of future players to step through. He was in the league for 3 years and racked up a total of 745 points throughout his career. He also ended up being a solid rebounder and a great defender. Next up at number 2, it's a guy a lot of people have heard of, Jalen Green. It may be incredibly early to throw Jalen Green so high up on this list, but he really is loved by a lot of NBA fans already. Green opted not to head into college like most players, and instead played in the G League before declaring for the draft. Though he has missed some games due to injury so far into his rookie year, Green has shown flashes of brilliance, and the future is going to be crazy bright for this young Houston Rockets guard. It's not a surprise that he's already becoming a fan favorite. Alright guys, that leads us to number 1 on our list, and it's Jordan Clarkson. The shooting guard on the Utah Jazz has proven to be one of the best bench players that the game has ever seen. He's bounced around a couple different teams, but the last few years he's really caught the liking of the NBA community. In fact, he just won the 6th Man of the Year award and is widely considered one of the best ball players from the Philippines who's currently still playing in the league. And that does it for this video on the 10 most loved players from the Philippines. If you enjoyed the video, we think you should check out the 6 best Jordan Clarkson fights over his 6-year career. Or you could click on the video on the right, as YouTube thinks that might be more your style.